Welcome back everybody, and today I'm going to tell you about my life as a teacher up here in Khon Kaen for 17 years. I'm going to tell you everything about that and what you need to know if you want to become a teacher. And I thought, what better place to bring you than to Khon Kaen University, which is pretty much a city in itself. So I'll take you around now. I'll show you parts of Khon Kaen University and tell you about being a teacher. Put an S on the end of there. Oh, stop being a teacher. A few people have asked me recently if I can put together a video on my teaching experience in Thailand. So, here goes. If you're looking at moving to Thailand to teach specifically, then I highly recommend you watch this video. I taught at one school for 17 years in Thailand, or specifically Isaan. And I've had some amazing moments and some not so good times, and I want to share those experiences with you. If you're looking to teach in Thailand, then you are probably already fully aware of just how popular Thailand is as a destination to teach in another country. And it's not difficult to see why. There is huge demand for foreigners teaching in Thailand, especially native speakers. And there are many different types of teaching jobs at myriad academic institutions throughout the country. And all that's before you get onto the magical attractions that Thailand offers Westerners. It's as if Thailand was pretty much created for everybody's tastes. But before we get onto the teaching side of things, however, or even the type of school you prefer, you need to consider the place where you actually want to live. Of course, many will just hit Bangkok and will simply love it. And it's not really surprising, as there are countless international schools, world-class education centres and everything else in between. However, Bangkok is, for some, a little too expensive, too busy and just too big. Hey! Stop looking at my belly. The next scale down will be places like Chiang Mai, Kanchanaburi and parts of the south with beaches, etc., where there's plenty of choice combined with local charm, amazing scenery and serious choices in everything from food to fun. These places seem tailor-made for Westerners with almost everything one could want. Then there are the more rural places, of course. In this, I include places like Khon Kaen. Okay, Khon Kaen is a city, but anyone who has actually visited would probably class it as a town, rather than a sprawling metropolis like Bangkok. And it is quite isolated, and it is surrounded by rural farmland. Of course, rural places also means those schools right out in the sticks. I remember once I advertised for a teaching job at my school. We needed a new teacher. I had a number of responses, and one young person in particular caught my attention. She had worked with young kids before in the UK and seemed to be the perfect fit, as we required a teacher for P1, which is kind of 5 to 6 years old. But when I looked at her interests, it was all water sports, travelling, beach life and so on. There's nothing wrong with that, but I had to respond to it. So I replied to her email and mentioned that Khon Kaen was actually 400 kilometres from the sea, but it was a great place to experience real Thailand. Surprise, surprise, she never actually replied. I was actually happy about this, as I didn't really want her to come all this way thinking it was a beach resort and then regretting it from day one. But what it does go to show you is that finding the right location first is far more important than the job itself. I'd just like to add that, you know, once you've found the right location, even if you do take up a job and you don't like it, come the end of the semester or the school year, you can easily go and find another job. It's a lot more difficult if you're already stuck in a town you don't want to be in. But why would anyone choose rural Thailand over, say, bustling Bangkok or charming Chiang Mai? Let me shed some light on the reasons why. I mean, why do people even live in rural Thailand? A lot of people end up living in rural Thailand basically because it's where their wife is from. They move there, buy or build a house, and then, well, sometimes have nothing to do. Or, to put it bluntly, they don't have the finances to stay. Some people love it. Some just do it for the salary and the visa. While others simply just want to fill their day. But being in a rural school can actually be very rewarding. You could even be the only foreign teacher there, and the Thai staff and students will treat you really well, possibly even offering you help to set up. Kind of like the proverbial big fish in a small pond. A lot of the students will simply love being taught by you, as you may be a bit of a novelty at first. You could literally be their first foreign teacher. The average salary is still, I believe, somewhere around 30 to 40,000 baht per month, depending on where you are. Though some will offer a much lower salary to start. A few places may offer more, especially in places like Bangkok. But if you do live in a more rural setting, you really can stretch your salary much, much further. In fact, quite a lot of people, me included on this, living in a more rural setting, can actually save a decent chunk of their salary. I used to be able to save about 10,000 baht a month. You may even get to feel like part of the community, especially if you immerse yourself into the culture. You are often held in high regard by many of the parents and locals who know you teach at a particular school. Being in rural Thailand sometimes forces your hand to learn Thai. I know it's not for everyone, but speaking Thai will definitely improve your experience in Thailand. Of course, being in rural Thailand isn't always a bed of roses. When I first started, I quickly noticed that the students didn't even speak Thai in the playground. They actually spoke Issan. So they were already speaking two languages, and then you try your best to teach them another. The level of English of the students and the locals is much lower than the tourist areas like Chiang Mai and Bangkok, as they are simply not exposed to English. As a result of this, it can be very hard, even frustrating, to try and teach properly. Sometimes you will find the kids will simply switch off because, well, when you speak, you're just not understood. This is why I started to learn Thai, so I could give direction in the classroom and it helped the kids to understand, and it allowed me to keep my sanity. Even though the kids struggle to speak English, some have zero English. You may be handed textbooks that are way above their level, but you're still expected to teach it and get results. Mixed ability in the same class, some poorly behaved students, and even large classes bursting at the seams can make things really tough, especially if you're new to Thailand, new to teaching, or worst of all, both. If you are looking to teach in Thailand, I'm sure you have read about the many different things you must have in place before you even think about coming to Thailand. But is that true? Having TEFL certification is a must. Well, it's strictly not true. To be honest, I never had one. It is preferred, but it's not actually essential. However, it will ease you into teaching non-native students, so it's a good thing to do if you can attend a course. You must possess a bachelor's degree or higher in any field or major. Well, to be honest, this is true and strictly adhered to nowadays. You now need the degree to be verified from the university along with the transcripts. This is usually done in the form of a letter sent directly to Kurusapa, which is the main educational body in Thailand. And it is a pain, but it is definitely needed. Unfortunately, some universities, especially in the UK, won't actually do that and you have to pick up in person, especially if it's pre-2000 or something. So it could be difficult and maybe something that you need to address before you come out to Thailand. You must earn extra credit to become a qualified teacher if you only possess a bachelor's degree or higher, not in education. This is definitely true if you want to teach here indefinitely. And if you want to teach here indefinitely, you must obtain a teacher's license. But when you first get a job/B visa, you will actually start on what's called a waiver, meaning you are permitted to teach for 2 years if you stay at the same school. Now, you are allowed 2 waivers, i.e. a maximum of 4 years at the same school. If you require a 3rd waiver, it is possible if you are at the same school and you have signed up to take a course with proof, i.e. a receipt, in gaining additional credit, most of which are Philippine-run organisations and are based in Bangkok. When I did mine, it actually took 12 months to do, required about 6 to 7 trips to Bangkok, and the course itself was around 65,000 baht, if I remember correctly. It sounds a lot, but to be honest, it's worth it if you are serious about teaching as a proper career. I mean, if you just want to dip your toe in, leave this part out for a few years. But it's something you definitely need to consider. You must be a native English speaker or very good/fluent in English and speak at a native level. Well, I've worked with people from all over the world. Some are brilliant, some not so good. And some non-native English speakers have been better than native speakers as they understand what it's like to learn English. Some also speak better and have a much better command of grammar. I mean, even for me, on my first day teaching M4 students, say 16, 17 years of age, I mentioned a verb, and a student very politely asked me, "Is that V2?" I didn't have a clue what they were on about, and so thought quickly and asked them what they thought the answer was. Anyway, I quickly had to learn the terms from there on in. I knew the grammar structures, just not the titles. Of course you need a valid passport, but you don't actually need a B visa to start. Well, you do technically, but the school generally sorts it out for you, and almost all teachers I've known start teaching before the B visa is properly issued. Immigration and the Labour Office seem to be on board with this, and I've never known a problem ever. Many teachers start life on a 30-day tourist visa and go from there. It's not ideal, but it does work. Okay. Having a clean criminal background check is a fairly recent requirement and needed in order to receive your work permit. It's fair enough, to be honest, as you will be in a classroom full of kids. Would you want your kids to be taught by someone who's not been vetted? No, I wouldn't. This can be done in your home country, I believe, or can be done at certain police units around Thailand. Your school will know where. It's not difficult, and I believe it only costs 100 baht to do in Thailand. With your medical certificate, again, this is needed for your work permit, not the actual visa. You can do this once you start teaching, and the school will direct you to which clinic/hospital is correct for you. They don't allow just any medical certificate from any clinic. It has to be certain ones, so your school will direct you to which one is correct. Again, just like the criminal background check, I only paid around 100 baht to get myself a medical certificate. Again, no big deal. I hear many times people saying that you cannot work over the age of 60 in Thailand. It's simply not true. Of course, if you're a doddery old man who can barely walk and are half deaf, then you may struggle to get a job. But I've worked with many people over the age of 60, even 70, and some of them were sprightlier than me. It all comes down to supply and demand, I suppose. Now, don't get me wrong. If two people go for an interview, one is 30, young, fit and full of life, and the other one is 67 years old and virtually can't walk, well, there's absolutely no comparison. The young guy's going to get the job. But many times, some schools actually look for older people to work there because they're more reliable. They're not going to be out every night chasing the ladies. The chances are they're married, settled down, and they just want to work. So, yeah, of course. If you're older, don't worry about it, you can still work. However, if you are on a visa based on retirement, you cannot work. It's illegal to work. You would have to change over to a marriage visa, which is perfectly legal to work on. That's what I did for the last few years. Or you can then start the process and go onto a B visa, but you cannot work on a visa based on retirement. It's illegal in Thailand. The ability to not take things too seriously. This is something I have personally added, and I think it's essential. Unless you teach at an international school, teaching can be really tough. I have met numerous people who had never taught before, but adapted the Maipendarai attitude of so many Thais, and they became great teachers. Conversely, some fully qualified teachers from their own country struggled as it was far removed from what they're used to. Not all teachers, of course, but it goes to show you that having the right attitude as a teacher goes a long way. There are, of course, those teachers who know it all and argue with the foreigners and even the Thai teachers or whoever. They're the kind of people who literally last 5 minutes in any school, whether it be an international school or a private school. Sometimes they don't even last 5 minutes in Thailand. And for me, there's nothing worse than a teacher who refuses to be taught. It's all about being positive, having the right attitude, and respecting the fact that you've been welcomed into their school. I'm sure there are more things, but to be honest, I've been out of the game for over a year and things may well have changed further still. Above all, if you really want to teach in Thailand, it's a wonderful experience and one you will never forget. I mean, Thailand isn't perfect, of course. But if you come with an open mind and adopt that mipe and dry attitude, you will love every minute of it. So if you are looking to teach in Thailand in the near future, I hope this video has helped you on the road to getting there. If you do like this video, don't forget, hit the big thumbs up, comment, but above all, subscribe. You don't know how much it helps this channel grow. So that will do for now. And I will see you very, very, very soon in the next video. Take care. I'm going to get some shut eye. Bye-bye. Oh.